$30,000. Likelihood of it failing is pretty small, but the consequence of it failing is large. That's something that we would say, get it done right away. Other things, like the pumps, the likelihood of them failing is maybe higher than that small level transducer, but the consequence of all three pumps failing is very serious. Right now, at average daily flow, it would mean probably 4 sewage trucks running back and forth continuously while you scramble to try and fix it. But at summer flows, I don't know if you could get 20 trucks out to do that. There's likely going to be an overflow event, and then it's the political issue of dealing with sewage going into a river. So that's my conclusion, that almost all the equipment continues to be functional at this time, and it's like, you know, like a historic vehicle or an antique. It has low operating hours, it still works, but it's reached the end of its normal expected service life. And at current daily flows, if everything were to fail, if the pumps were off, the backup power didn't work, 2.5 hours, and there would be sewage in the adjacent locker drain. We recommend taking action on those most vulnerable parts as soon as finances are available to mitigate these risks. Now, if I've got a couple minutes, I can show some examples of how we've done upgrades to some stations. I'll just quickly jump through those.
Do we want to go through that now, or do we, our council hasn't looked at this at our last meeting. We had the report, but our meeting went over schedule, and we haven't dealt with that. So we've got this report today. I don't know whether, what's your wishes on this pump station too? You want it included in the scope change?
I would say yes, that's what it's part, to me, this is part of the system. So if we can include it in there, under the grant money, why would, it's part of the system. If not, we're going to have 100% dollars into it. So if there's grant money there, why not use it?
It'll have to be included in. This is a change in the scope of what the grant is for. It was never included before. So if we have to include it, I guess our council hasn't looked at this report at our meeting. We have concerns with shares and how it's going to be distributed, the cost, whether the future costs for Blue Water or whatever. And those things we have to have knowledge of, an idea of where that goes, for the money that's being spent. I don't know anything about pump stations, but what I heard is it was a well-designed station. The pump station, the chambers were well-designed. The whole thing is built really well. It's just 32 years old. Have you reviewed and analyzed other pump stations that are 32 years old? Is this fairly typical, or are we above average or below average?
I'd say you've done well with your equipment to get this far.
But with, you talk about all three pumps shutting down, that could have happened 2 years after it started as well.
That's right. It hasn't. Yeah.
Yes, well, I really agree with Jim that it makes sense to at least take the steps to try to get it included with grant monies, because of course it would be better to split $250,000 two ways than $750,000 two ways for the immediate repairs that have to be done. And it's true that we don't want to have the political fallout of having anything break down. Is really something, and it makes sense that after 30 years we really should be doing some major maintenance and upgrades. So it's essential that it be done. We just can't ignore it any longer, and it seems like the time is opportune for us to make that appeal as a key component of our whole sewage program and lagoon system, that it be included too. So I know it wasn't included in the original application, so it would be a matter of making the appeal on the basis that we're spending far less money. Can we include this at this point? Because Blue Water will be the beneficiaries of it as well in the future when
like to make that motion, that we include it as part of the system.
Okay.
What are we including?
PS2, the immediate work.
Up to the future, up to the first 3 items.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we should specify where we're going.
We're not trying to increase the capacity.
No.
That has nothing to do with what we're doing today. But when I look at that stuff there is some work that needs to be done to protect the municipalities. Also,
I agree with Jim, we got parts in there that pumps are 5 years beyond their lifespan. And the chances are, it's like you said at the beginning, they could be put in, then break down, but their chances of breaking down are getting better and better as each year goes by. We need to look at that. And if they do break down, where are we going to get the bloody parts for them? You got an electrical panel in their control system that Westinghouse probably doesn't even know exists anymore. If that ever goes, we're in serious hot water. We've got sludge going into the lake eventually, and as you said, the consequences from the provincial government and the federal government could really be severe. I think it should be
We have,
included.
okay, make a recommendation that this be added, and I think it's gonna be taken back to our council.
well, I agree.
I agree.
But
We
this,
need to
I'm doing
talk
this
to,
through the board.
Yes.
We can take it back to the council, it's a recommendation, and I think you need to move forward with it. And we can find out whether it can be included in the grant, if it can. But from what I'm hearing, whether it's included in the grant, we need to do some work. So,
It's 30 years.
exactly, so,
So the motion is to, the board recommends that our council look at it and include it in the grant funding. We'll probably get some consultation with our engineer, Dylan, on this, and he concurs with everything that's here, and I know we have discussed. Frank, do you have anything?
Well, Dylan has done a review, they concur that there's some maintenance items that need to be taken care of. They do have some other concerns, but, I think that's something, when the report's presented to our council, that we'll be looking for certain direction to get the two engineers talking to, so.
Things like the diesel motor that was built 30 years ago was probably built better than the one that's going to be built today, but for the hours it's on. Need a seconder for the one.
I'll second it, but really, some of this work money will be spent in there for the two systems to talk of the pumping station and the new lagoon. Will any of this system that's there now be adaptable to the new stuff? You say this Westinghouse stuff is outdated.
The SCADA system,
The SCADA will have to be.
it'll have to be up, part of it.
Yes.
Okay, moved and seconded that this goes to our council with recommendation that we consider adding it to the application grant.
Is it the full amount then? 4.5 or?
no, no,
Is it 1 to 3?
1 to 3, because the other's capacity, we don't need capacity now. So it's 1 to 3.
Any other questions on it? All in favor of that? Carried. I don't know whether you need to go through the rest of your,
I could show you, if you have time, I can show you for 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes.
we only got a couple items left. I'll let you, show us what you're,
Okay.
take another couple minutes, and we'll have that.
Just so you're aware of what it could look like. The orange grading on the side here, that's common now to use. It's a fiberglass reinforced plastic instead of the steel or aluminum for grading. It doesn't degrade, it doesn't corrode with time. There's a bypass connection here at the station that we put in, just a little fitting. Hey, if there's a problem with your wet well, there's a way to adapt to it. This is a wet well where the pumps are in the well. I know it's a little dark, but it does show that fiberglass reinforced plastic grading and railings again.